On News Lens, we bring you the best of news updates.
Economic downturn. States borrow 46 billion naira from banks to pay salary.
States split over federal government 35,000 wage award to federal workers.
Expert analysis.
One thing Nigeria needs at this particular moment is fiscal discipline. The truth of the matter is that we are more of a consuming nation than a productive nation. And for as much as we have that kind of a situation, our naira will not be strong. There is no miracle about it. I would have expected government to work more on price control.
And the fact that insecurity has actually caused some farmers to stop farming.
Absolutely. Government must have the political will to solve this problem.
Do you think they stand a chance to get any benefit from the federal government?
How will an ordinary Nigerian survive on a daily basis? I think these are the questions we should ask ourselves.
Where audience gets to hear the views on topical issues across national days.
Look, I'm asking myself, are we not sure to be an independent nation? People are solving a lot, but today we are suffering because the government tends to listen to the federal institution by removing fresh subsidies. I'm talking about the Atiku Asiwaju saga. I'm afraid if it is not a pre-election matter, we will probably not be surprised if the Supreme Court uses the word lack of merit as incompetent.
Join us every weekday from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. as we serve you the best dose in news. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the speakers and callers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Omoluwabi Radio 87.7.
All right, a wonderful morning to you, wherever it is you're listening to us from omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Studio time check, 9 minutes gone past the hour of 7 o'clock. This morning, you're welcome to another interesting edition of the program. News Lens right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You know, I'll read it on the program. We reviewed some of the headlines that made it true to the Nigerian dailies, and then we give insight and analysis on to some of these headlines on a daily basis. Yes, that's what we do right here on omoluwabi from 7 a.m. to around 8 a.m. every weekday. Yeah, Mondays to Fridays. Yeah, every weekday, Mondays to Friday. That's what we do. Yeah, we read some of the headlines together. Yeah, when I say together, you know, I mean you and us. Yeah, you also get to be a part of the program. When time comes, we open the phone lines for you to join the conversation. Or probably you drop your comments off Facebook, and when we get them, we read them this morning. All right, okay. Without much ado, my name is Oluwatayo Ajiwale, and I'm welcoming you on board this morning, the first day in the month of August 2024. Happy New Month to you all. It's going to be a great month for us all, and we just hope everything comes back to normal in this nation in the month of August. All right, without much ado, we'll be going straight to the headlines of some of the stories that we have this morning. This morning, we've got 5 newspapers this morning. I've got the Nigerian Tribune, Vanguard, and of course, the Nation and the Guardian newspaper, plus the Punch newspaper too, this morning on the show. All right, I'll be starting off with the headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning. With the banner headline here from the front page of the Punch newspaper saying, tension, food prices rise as hunger protest begins today. Tension, food prices rise as hunger protest begins today. And the story has a writer that says, presidency, NAS, government beg protesters as Nigerians rush to stock foodstuffs. And then this one says, police seize protest materials in FCT. Lagos CP insists on court order on rally routes. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still from the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying CBN advances. Opposition OPS oppose higher borrowing limits for FG. Okay, this story is on page 13 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Students may pay 80,000 naira electricity fee in varsity. Students may pay 80,000 naira electricity fee in varsities. That's coming from the VC's panel. Panel of the vice chancellors are speaking this morning, saying students may pay 80,000 naira electricity fee in varsities. Should in case your bring varsity electricity fee home, just do not question them, because they are saying this month the students may pay 80,000 naira electricity fee in varsities. That's coming from VC's panel. The story is on page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Forex tax, Tinubu Bank chiefs in closed door meeting. Forex tax, Tinubu Bank's chiefs in closed door meeting. That story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying how doctors battled to save Oyeka Uweno's life. How doctors battled to save Oyeka Uweno's life. Obi, Tinubu governors, P-Man, Mon, iconic singer. That story is on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying FG withholds 4.9 billion naira Unity Schools meal subsidy. FG withholds 4.9 billion naira Unity Schools meal subsidy. Can get that story on page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Akpabio Oshiomole Shaibu to lead APC campaign in Edo. Akpabio Oshiomole Shaibu to lead APC campaign in Edo. Can get that story on page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And still from the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying reps direct NNPC to suspend crude for loan deal. Reps direct NNPC to suspend crude for loan deal. That story is on page 13 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying guard, 2 others held for justice at Jumobobia's daughter's murder. Guard, 2 others held for justice at Jumobobia's daughter's murder. You can get that story on page 4 and 5, pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Imported vaccine lingers as cholera cases hits 4,809. Imported vaccines lingers as cholera cases hits 4,809. You can get that story on page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And that's all from the Punch newspaper. Let's check The Guardian very quickly, with the banner headline here on the front page of The Guardian newspaper saying hunger protests, anxiety in states. Protesters insist ignore government appeals. Okay, anxiety in states. Protesters insist ignores our government's appeals. Okay, that story there can get a full glimpse of that story, a full report there by picking up a copy of the Guardian newspaper today. And we have this one saying Adamawa denies receiving 20 trucks of grains from federal government. Adamawa denies receiving 20 trucks of grains from federal government. That story is on page 30 of the Punch newspaper this morning. We have this one saying grounded Arik fleet threatens Chevron's oil production. Grounded Arik fleet threatens Chevron's oil production. That story is on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Tributes for elegant stallion Owenu as beats stops at 72. Tributes for elegant stallion Owenu as beat stops at 72. That story there, you can get that from page 9 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Amid 30 trillion naira probe, NAS amid CBN's acts to raise the ways and means loans to federal government. Amid 30 trillion naira probe, NAS amend CBN's act to raise ways and means loans to federal government. You can get that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. I have this one saying police foil bomb attack in Lagos restrict protesters to 2 venues. Police foil bomb attack in Lagos restrict protesters to 2 venues. You can get that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying court restricts protesters to 4 centers in Ogun. Court restricts protesters to 4 centers in Ogun. You can get full details of that on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And that's all from the Guardian this morning. Now, very quickly, we'll be checking the Nation newspaper too this morning. What do we have here? As a banner headline on the front page of the Nation newspaper, we have this one saying why protest is unnecessary by Akume Edun Bagudu Alake. And the story has a rider here that says courts limit protesters to Abuja Stadium, 4 places in Ogun. More details of that is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying a billionaire businessman $10 backs federal government on forex windfall levy. Billionaire businessman $10 backs federal government on forex windfall levy. Can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Nation newspaper this morning. We have this one saying EFCC recovers 233.62 billion naira. 231.6 billion naira. EFCC recovers 231.62 billion naira under Tinubu. Agency gets new units. EFCC recovers 231.62 billion naira under Tinubu. Agency gets new units. Can get that story on page 5 of the Nation newspaper this morning. National Assembly reenacts 2024 Appropriation Acts. National Assembly reenacts 2024 Appropriation Act. Passage rowdy in House. That story there is on page 5 of the Nation newspaper this morning. Onwenu preached loved in last performance. Onwenu preached loved in last performance. That story is on page 6 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And they have this one saying Nel Fund disburses 1.1 billion naira as tuition fee to 20,000 students. Nel Fund disburses 1.1 billion naira as tuition fee to 20,000 students. That story there has a writer that says institutions get 850 million naira. Institutions get 850 million naira. Each beneficiary receives 250,000 naira for upkeep. Interesting one there. You can get full details of that on page 5 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying IED detonated in Lagos. IED detonated in Lagos, and then saying that story is on page 27. We have this one saying Makinde names technical varsity after Ajimobi. Makinde names technical varsity after Ajimobi. You can get that story on page 8 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And let's check the Vanguard newspaper very quickly this morning. With this one saying protesters urged to leave room for dialogue as police deploy assets. Protesters urged to leave room for dialogue as police deploy assets. And the story has a writer here that says leave room for dialogue. Reduce protests to 1 to 3 days. Okay, that story there has another writer that says, okay, that's coming from Adegborua cancelling the protesters there saying, leave room for dialogue, reduce protests to 1 to 3 days. Adegborua cancels. And this one saying, Falana emphasizes rights of citizens to protest. Falana emphasizes rights of citizens to protest. Court restricts Abuja protest to MKO Abiola Stadium. Police conduct show of force, assure Nigerians of safety. Recover explosive device dropped at customs FOU wall. Sean calls for anti-hunger protest. SDF tells Nigerians, we firmly support citizens' rights to peaceful assembly protest. That's coming from Action Aid. You can get all of the story there on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Now we have this one saying we can't pay 70,000 naira minimum wage. Go be governor. Okay, and that story is on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Mother of Ajimobia's daughter, 3 domestic staff arrested. Mother of Ajimobia's daughter, 3 domestic staffs are arrested. You can get that story on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Oyeka Nwenu's passing. Our mom's last moments by sons. Tinubu wife Obi Okoroji Musawa Mon. That story is on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And I have this one saying bank recapitalization, foreign investors moving in. That's coming from Cardoso. Bank recapitalization, foreign investors moving in. Cardoso speaking there. Can get full details of that on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Windfall levy, bankers meet Tinubu for clarifications. Windfall levy, bankers meet Tinubu for clarification. I can get that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Boko Haram suicide attack kills 19, injures dozens in Borno village. Boko Haram suicide attack kills 19, injures dozens in Borno village. Can get that story on page 30 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Opposition reps walk out of plenary over bill to raise ways and means. Opposition reps walk out of plenary over bill to raise ways and means. That story is on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And lastly, from the sports scene here, we have this one saying Paris 2024 Olympics. Team Nigeria in disarray. Controversy over OT is omission from 100-meter race on. 100-meter race rages on. That story is on page 31 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And lastly, let's check the Nigerian Tribune this morning. With the front banner headline here on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune saying hardship protests, security beefed up in states, soldiers, policemen, NSCDC in show of force. Security hardship protests, security beefed up in states, soldiers, policemen, NSCDC in show of force. That story has a lot of rider here too, saying IGP holds last minute virtual meeting with strategic commanders and says we will treat any protesters wielding weapon as criminal. That's coming from NSCDC. Okay, respect rights of protesters. NHRC urges security agencies. Constructive engagement better than protests. Federal government insists. Senate wants organizers to shelve protest, and then says Tinubu needs more time. There is no need for protest, and that's coming from Sanwo-Olu addressing Lagosians. Okay, there can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Sons, Obi recounts last minutes of Onyeka Onwenu, Tinubu orders mourn. That story is on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Police deactivate explosive device in Lagos hours to nationwide protest. Police deactivates explosive device in Lagos hours to nationwide protest. You can get that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Owa Vidonri dies at 102. Owa Vidonri dies at 102. Ayedatiwa orders mourn. You can get that story on page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Exu ex-DVC body found in shallow grave 3 weeks after his abduction. Exu ex-DVC body found in shallow grave 3 weeks after his adoption. That's a sad one there. You can get that story from page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. 3 domestic staff arrested over Justice Ajimobubia's daughter's murder in Lagos. 3 domestic staff arrested over Justice Ajimobubia's daughter's murder in Lagos. That story is on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And we have this one saying Gombe can't afford 70,000 naira minimum wage. Governor, Gombe can't afford 70,000 naira minimum wage. Governor, that story is on page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And we have this one saying NAS repeals reenacts 2024 Appropriation Acts. NAS repeals reenacts 2024 Appropriation Acts. Saying retains 35.056 trillion naira. Retains 35.056 trillion naira total budget figure. Ways and Means, Senate reps amend advances to 10%. Ways and Means, Senate reps amend advances to 10%. You can get that story on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And lastly, here from the Nigerian Tribune, student loan, NEL fund disburses 1.17 billion naira to 20,000 beneficiaries from 5 institutions. NEL fund loans, student loans. NEL fund disburses 1.17 billion naira to 20,000 beneficiaries from 5 institutions. That's saying 260,000 applicants approved. NFIU, DSS, EFCC, ICPC to ensure transparency, security. Can get full details of that story on page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And that's all we have from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. All right, we'll be going on a very short commercial break. And when we return, we will continue with the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning. We are on Facebook streaming live this morning. This morning we are on Facebook and we are streaming live. Can you go check us out and drop your comment on Facebook at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll read your comments when we see them. Do not go anywhere. It's still news right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll be back after this short timeout.
The voice of integrity, Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time, so give your chance this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snack of future champions.
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704-714-2000 or 0701-000-8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
Hello, the My Sabi people, how una dey? Na Sabi people dey listen to Sabi Radio. Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM, na dem be Sabi Radio.
You're welcome back. It's the News Lens right here on omoluwabi 7.7 FM. Right about now, we'll be going straight into the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning from the front pages of the Nigerian dailies this morning. And this morning, I have with me in the studio, Kayode Ajani. Good morning, Kayode.
Good morning, Tayo. Good morning, our listeners.
Okay, still check the stories, check all the newspapers this morning. Still about the protest scheduled to start today, and then so many people are saying there's been mixed reactions as regards the protest. At some points, there was even a circulation online that the protest has been postponed, and then the likes like that. But then we've seen many government officials, governors, ministers coming on board and saying, you know what, why not let's dialogue and not allow protests at this point in time. Take for instance the Nation newspaper report this morning and say where protest is unnecessary by Akume Edun Bagudu Alaki, and I saying court limits protesters to Abuja Stadium for places in Ogun. And that's according to the Nation newspaper. All newspapers report that story this morning and saying anxiety in states as protesters insist ignore government's appeal. That's according to Guardian newspaper. We're still talking about the protest. Talking about the protest, same. The Punch newspaper saying the same thing, saying tension, food prices rise as the hunger protest begins today. And story comes to the writer, say presidency, NAS, governors beg protesters as Nigerians rush to stock foodstuff, and then say police seize protest materials in FCT. Lagos CP insists on court order on rally routes. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Then check the Vanguard newspaper talking about protests too. Protesters urged to leave room for dialogue as police deploy protests. Police deploy assets. That one also has a lot of writers here saying leave room for dialogue, reduce protest to 1 to 3 days. Adegboruwa counsels. The Falana emphasizes rights of citizens to protest. Court restricts Abuja protesters to MKO Abiola Stadium. Police conduct a show of force, assure Nigerians of safety. Recover explosive. The police also recover explosive device dropped at customs FOU wall. Sean calls for anti-hunger protest. SGF tells Nigerians we firmly support citizens' right to peaceful assembly and protest. That's coming from Action Aid. Okay, you can get that story from page 6 of page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. The Nigerian Tribune also reports something as regards the protests, so saying security beefed up in states, soldiers, policemen, NSCDC in show of force. And then this one also has some other riders say IGP holds last-minute virtual meeting with strategic commanders. We will treat any protesters wielding weapon as criminal. That's coming from NSCDC. Respect rights to protesters. Okay, respect right of protesters. That's coming from the NHRC, urging security agencies there. Constructive engagement better than protest. Federal government insists. Senate wants organizers to shelve protests and says Tinubu needs more time. There is no need to protest. Sanwo-Olu addresses Lagosians. Okay, That story there, you can get it from page 14 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Kayode, the federal government is saying dialogue is better than protest. We still do not see any reasons why Nigerians should protest at this time. And the Senate is saying, why not give President Bola Ahmed Tinubu some time? He just spent barely above a year. Let's give him some time and let him address our issues. As a matter of fact, he's been addressing some of these issues ever since the time that this agitation or protest has been on board. Kayode, what's your take on this?
Thank you so much, Tayo. Well, let me start by saying that we have established before now that protest is a right, but what most people are actually concerned about is about public properties, public infrastructure. So that has been the concern of many. But at the same time, you will also be surprised that the beginning of protest is actually the beginning of should we call a new beginning for Nigerians? Because in the last 48 hours, we have seen a lot of approval from the federal government, a lot of policies, some of these policies giving out this, giving out that. But beyond that, so I think this is also a charge to our government that they should not wait till the people, they should not wait until people speak up before they do what is right. Now, they have been called from different angles. Even the Lagos State governors also spoke yesterday. Beyond all this, what Nigerians need, the fact is that Nigerians are not asking for too much, sincerely speaking. We are not asking for too much because we are in it together. That's why I use we. Yes, Nigerians are not asking for too much. What Nigerians are asking for is a better living, is a country whereby they will also be regarded as citizens. Because why do we always have to wait till people, come up with protest or strike before we do the right thing? Do not forget too that ASU strike too, it is also a time bomb. It's going to happen anytime soon. Yes. So the point is that why do we have to wait? Why do governments have to wait till citizens begin to speak up before they do the right thing? People have been demanding for a good living, and that is what people are asking for. Now, speaking from another perspective too, I think it is also important that the protesters too should be mindful of public infrastructures, please, because if anything should be damaged, the limited resources that the government are trying to manage, it is still the same resources that will be used to rebuild some of these things. So I think that is why some of these states went to court to receive some of these court injunctions. Although they might be ridiculous.
I was coming to that. Talking about states are going to courts to receive court injunctions, restricting protesters to some certain venues, and many of them saying there shouldn't be procession. Just stay in one venue, do whatever it is you want to do there, and when it is 4 p.m., go back to your houses. Do you think that can be? Do you think Nigerians will obey that at this point in time? Because going to Abuja now, they've told them in Abuja and said, you know what? You're only restricted to MKO Abiola Stadium. You are not allowed to go to the Eagle Square. And the protesters are saying, we are going to that Eagle Square and we are making a procession from Eagle Square to wherever it is they are going to. But as it is now, it seems this is where the problem might come in today, because protesters are saying you can't tell us where to stay. Eagle Square is a public property, and you can't tell us we have the rights. It is built by the masses' money, so you have the right to protest, to gather there if you want to gather there. But then there has been court injunctions, and the IGP has come out. You've seen ministers, governors coming out to saying that you are restricted to some certain venues, you can't go beyond all of these places. But Nigerian protesters are saying that no, you are not the one that will tell us what will happen. Don't you think this probably would cause some kind of mayhem today?
Well, thank you so much. In my own perspective, I also do not subscribe to that order, because of the fact that we must understand that you cannot tell people who are grieving how to grieve. Yes.
But then we have to maintain law and order too.
Exactly, but government should have actually used another alternative. And
what was the other alternative?
Yes, and that is wherever that will be the point of meeting, there should be security that will lead their procession. I think that is the best thing than just telling people to.
But the government is
gather
saying,
in
do not use your own protest to disrupt other Nigerians, to disturb other Nigerians from their
we
daily
have
activities.
we have government over the years that have shown a kind of irresponsible attitude, that it is until when people speak up. So it is to some of us, and then it is what we have witnessed over the years. It is when people start to restrict movement, that is when government always acts. So we cannot blame the people for the failure of government. That is what those empowered need to understand. I'm telling you, Tayo, if the activities at the airport is not stopped, this protest will not have any impact, because these are strategic locations that will give the government a kind of that will put the government on hot seat. That's the fact. So now just asking people to go to a location that will not make the protest popular, I also do not subscribe to that, because the protesters want to make a statement. Yes, and they cannot make that in a local street. No. It must be where it will become popular, where it will actually catch the attention of people in power, that is the main target of the people. So I think that is my own opinion on that.
Okay, let's check out. I saw a picture. I saw a message here, and it's a picture that I want to share with us this morning as regards so what Nigerians are sharing on social media. Okay, talking about what the federal government has done in time past, and then what they are still doing. Okay, I'll definitely get that out. Okay, I got it already. Okay, talking about what the federal government has done in time past, and then talking about saying trust the process. How should we trust the process? Let me read it out. To say, it says, then before now, we have foreign reserve was $34 billion, but now the foreign reserve is $37 billion. And then minimum wage used to be 30,000 naira, but now minimum wage is 70,000 naira. Okay, ways and means debt was 27 trillion naira, but now it's 16 trillion naira. And then we have this one saying forex backlog used to be $7 billion, but now it has been cleared. And then oil production used to be 900,000 barrel per day rather. Oil production used to be 900,000 barrel per day, but now there's now 1.6 million barrel per day. And then we have this one saying the debt to revenue ratio used to be 97%, but now debt to revenue ratio is 64%. Don't you think this government is working and they are trying their best to make sure they bring back Nigeria comes back to its foot? What's your take on this, Kayode?
I saw it yesterday, Tayo. But in my own opinion, yes, I think that we cannot ask people not to protest. That has been established many times. But in the last 48, 72 hours, we have seen, steps that has been taken by this government. And these are steps that are actually, convincing. Yes. And in my own opinion too, I think with all what I personally have seen in the last 48 to 72 hours, I can say that why not give them another opportunity? Why not? Yes. Although this might not sit well with people, but in all honesty, why can't we just give this government
some benefit of doubt?
Yes, and let's see what the implementation will be in the next 3 to 4 months. Because do not forget that this minimum wage that they are celebrating, implementation is yet to commence.
But then the president has signed they signed the bill into law, so definitely it will be implemented. The NAS has approved it, the president has approved it. So what are we expecting? What are we waiting for?
Yes, so.
But then, talking about minimum wage, we talk about a story there, talking about as regards minimum wage. There's some certain things that our governor saying they can't pay minimum wage. But then, before we move there to the issue of minimum wage, many Nigerians have been trolling the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, saying, go out and protest. We'll sit down here and be eating. Kayode, they are saying, shouldn't our leaders watch what they are saying at this sensitive period?
You can see why we cannot, advise people not to protest or not to show their anger. When you have people in position of authority that are not sensitive to issues, and then these are people that have been feeding on public fund for the past 15, 20 years of their lives. Yes. So and that is why some of us actually do not have any kind of sympathy for them whenever people attack them too. Of course, we cannot preach physical assault, but the fact is that leaders in authority must know that they are empowered to take care of people that they are ruling over. And you see, there was a time I gave you one example about a vice chancellor of a university at a point, and there was no power in their hostel for like days, and the students got an information that there is power at the VC's lodge. By the time they would get to the VC's lodge, they met the VC with a lantern. At that point, what that means is that even if the generator was on prior to the coming of the students, but for the fact that the students met the vice chancellor with a lantern, that ordinarily appealed to their emotions. That is how you know leaders that are thinkers. Yes, leaders that think, leaders that understand the feelings and the emotions of those that are under them.
Okay, Kaide, let me quote the Senate President here. Those who want to protest can protest, but let us be there eating. I must thank the Niger Delta. We acknowledge the fact that the impact of oil and gas activities in our region has done immeasurable damage to our people. Is stressed. Emphasis has been laid on those who want to protest can protest. Let us be there eating. But then many Nigerians have been coming for the head of the Senate President.
It was an avoidable joke, sincerely.
All right, let's move on this morning to some other stories this morning, talking about the minimum wage. The governor of Gombe State is saying now we can't afford 70,000 naira, and at the end of the day, this is going to be a case for so many of the governors. Because we've been talking about this over the time, saying now will this governor pay 70,000 naira minimum wage? So Kayode, I want to take your reaction as regards that coming from the governor of Gombe State. They're saying we can't pay 70,000 naira minimum wage. Gombe governor, what's your take on this?
My reaction is simple, Tayo.
Okay.
If Gombe cannot pay, let the states that can pay 70k take over Gombe State.
Why?
That's the fact. The state is not viable. We have been discussing it for a very long time that our states are not viable. If they cannot pay, and if Lagos State can pay, let them become a unit under Lagos State. It is simple as that. Sincerely, that is my own honest opinion. And then I think this should be the position of the labor unions in this state. If we have any states that cannot pay, let states that can pay take over them. They don't need to have governors since their governor cannot be innovative. Yes, that's the fact. Let states that are innovative take over them. And let them just appoint maybe an administrator that will be managing their affairs, and they will be under a state that is viable, that can pay. With that, I think this will charge some of these state governors to start thinking of how to make their state viable. They are not there to only wait for federal government revenue alone, for God's sake. The fact is that some of these states that are coming out to say that they cannot even pay, they do not have even the number of workforce compared to other states, and they get every allocation on a monthly basis too, and they are telling us that you cannot pay. If you cannot pay, just resign. That's the first step, and let the states that can take over your affairs, let that state come on board and just take you as their own sub-unit.
All right, Kaide, talking about state viability, how many states in Nigeria do you think is viable as you speak? Because as it is now, most of these states just go down to Abuja and then receive the federal government allocation like it's as it were, and then come back to their states and disburse as salary to workers. Practically most of these states, I know I've always been having issues with when people come aboard and said a certain state is a civil servant state. And I ask the question, okay, civil servant state, what are the civil servants in that state doing? Where is the productivity? You are paying salaries, but we are not getting result of the salaries you are paying.
That's the point. That's why I also mentioned earlier that if you as a governor, if you are not innovative enough, you don't have business on that seat. That's the fact. Because we can of course argue that some of these states are not viable, but they have resources to be viable. That is my point.
Yeah, I'm asking, how many states do you think is viable in Nigeria as you speak?
We can make them viable. We all know that majority of them are not viable, but they can be viable. That's the point. They have the resources, they have the land, the natural resources is also there, unlimited, untapped. Okay. So you are not sitting in that seat as a governor just to wait for monthly allocation. If you are not innovative, resign and just leave. Let those who are serious with business occupy the seat.
Okay, with those who are serious with business should occupy the seat. Right, we'll be going on a very short commercial break now, and when we come back, we'll be opening phone lines for you to join the conversation this morning. And of course, we'll read your comments on Facebook. Don't forget, you can also drop your comment. I've seen some comment on Facebook already. And drop your comment on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. That's the handle on Facebook. And drop your comment there. We will read them when we see them. All right, so we'll be going on a short commercial break now. When we return, News Lens will continue.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
I will show you. Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 naira, while Super Pack is now 350 naira. So hurry now. Offer valid till stock lasts.
This is calling on all telecom subscribers who are yet to link their national identity number with their SIM to visit the nearest office of their service provider with a valid NIN for verification and linkage, or risk losing the lines permanently. Your service provider will confirm your national identification number in the database of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, and help recover the bad number after successfully linking your NIN with your SIM. A link will then be sent to you to automatically link your NIN with your phone number. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
Honey, this meal tastes so good and different. Wait, your meals have been extra delicious lately. Even your fries. Is that something you're not telling me?
Well, it is BBMB oil. It has made my meal taste so good. I now enjoy cooking unlike before. Even you, my husband, is now so happy.
BBMV oil?
Yes, BBMV oil is so good, pure and non-sticky that it can be used at home and parties for frying, cooking, baking, and lots more. Guess what? I'm even planning to be a distributor with BBMV oil because they supply in small and large sizes for consumers, retailers, and wholesalers, and there are trucks to move items purchased.
Wow, that is so amazing. BBMV Ventures, located at 36 Old Adioyo Road, Yemetu, Ibadan, and BBMV House, Kilometer 2, New Ikirun Road, beside National Library, Oshogo. Telephone numbers 0811-581-3819 or 0905-386-5304. BBMV Oil. Eat healthy, pay less.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight. Stay in power, you find it all in Peak. Every move you make, Peak's got you all the way. And the Peak goes on.
Power on every morning with our Peak protein breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak, reach for your peak.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
welcome back. It's the Newslands right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Okay, you too can join the conversation this morning. The studio lines are open 07047 007999 07047 007999. You can also call us on 08053 888933 08053 888933. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of the program this morning. All right, let's see who is here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
This is calling from Alaka.
All right, please make your point.
Yeah, thank you. I support the protest because it will put the federal government on their toes in addressing the economic crisis in the country. Because you can't continue to beat a child and expect him or her not to cry. But it must be done in a peaceful manner, just like our governor in the state has said. So on the technical university named after late Governor Jumobi is a good one by the state government. So I would just urge the people in government to learn from this, so not to be political biased. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the program this morning. You too can join the conversation. The studio lines are still open. 07047 007999. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Adrian.
All right, please make your point.
Yeah, on the protest, I'll just tell the people that they should be security conscious and not vandalize the state property. As said by our government that we should protest peacefully. So on the renaming of the technical university, on the renaming of the technical university after the Tajimobi, to the largest one commendable one on Governor Sherimakinde as they have promoted the efforts of the icon.
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, this is Sam from Makuba.
All right, Mr. Sam, please make your point.
Yeah. Well, this protest is welcome, my dear. Very much welcome, because the truth is that the populists have not been speaking. The leaders have always been overwhelming and dominating the situations. No matter how the populists cry, they don't seem to have the feelings of the populace. They are not sensitive to the voices of the populace. So that's why there is need, especially in Nigeria. Nigerians are really suffering. The leaders, they are supposed to be representatives of the people, but they're not. They're not. So many things are happening. Even as I'm talking to you, you can imagine the House of Representatives still trying to increase the percentage of how much the federal government can collect as loan from CBN, from 5% to 10%. When there are cries that the loan that the federal government is collecting from CBN is too much. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got you. We are with you.
So there is even a walkout among those who oppose the 10% increase. Some are even saying the 5% is too much and they want to reduce it to 2%. Some are saying it should go up to 10%. Why the populace are crying? You are saying federal government should collect more loan
All right.
from central bank.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sam, for being a part of the program.
Insensitive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. I don't think we won't be able to pick any call, but then let's read this comment from Facebook from Imafoje Peter saying, good morning in the studio. Happy New Month. Happy New Month to you too. As a matter of fact, the government cannot stop the aggrieved Nigerians from protest simply because it is constitutional rights. But we are appealing to them to do it in a constructive way, not in a destructive manner. We don't want a pretext of vandalization of public utilities and looting of innocent Nigerians' properties. Let's pick this call before we go. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is May, and I'm calling from Odejai.
All right, please make your point.
All right, thank you. No doubt, Nigerians are really, really suffering. It's even hard to eat 2 square meals, not to talk of 3. So I strongly support the protest, but I hope our voices will be heard and federal government to rise up to the occasion. And my advice for the protesters is that they shouldn't vandalize government property because it is also our property, just like Makinde said. And I pray that at the end of the protest, we will have we will be happy. We will be happy that fine. This is what we all fight for.
All right, thank you very much for being a part of the program. Unfortunately, we won't be able to pick any call this morning. Again, we sincerely appreciate everyone for being a part of the program this morning. Thank you very much, Kayode Ajani, for being a part of the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of the program this morning. Join us again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. on the program Newslands right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. All right, Sports Rave will be the next on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM with Jonathan Ibileke, right after which Kakakiro will be coming up on board on this dial. Stay glued to your radio set because Omoluwabi 87.7 FM promises to bring some interesting and exciting content your way today. And then we'll keep you updated as regards how everything is going, how things are happening in our society. So your best dial, your best lock, you better lock it down here on Omoluwabi 7.7, where we bring you the best in news, talk, and of course music. We are the voice of integrity. You can count on us anytime, any day on this dial. My name is Oluwatayo Ajiwole, and I'm signing out this morning to return tomorrow morning. 7 a.m. is the time to 8 a.m. on Omoluwabi 7.7 FM. The program is Newslands. Bye-bye. Until see you again next time, my name is Tayo Ajiwole once again. Bye-bye.